Today I'm going to share with you my base pasta recipe. This is a recipe that I've been tweaking for a little while now. I use something called a semola flour, which is like a finely milled drum wheat flour. I share the link with you to the product in the recipe. You can get it on Amazon. Usually ships the next day, so super convenient. This is something that I learned when I was in Italy. I learned from a chef there who taught me how to make the pasta there, and this was the type of flour that he used, and since I've tried it, I haven't gone back. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our pasta with this, a couple of eggs, a little bit of water, and literally some salt. That's it. So to get started, I'm going to show you the method using your food processor. Now, take 2 eggs, whole eggs, whisk them together roughly with a fork, set those aside. Let them come up to room temperature. It'll be better for you that way. You're going to need about 1 tablespoon of water, so have some water available, a little bit of salt. And then the first thing is just kind of scale out your flour. Now, I've also shared another recipe with you using just regular all-purpose flour. Now pay attention, the ratios are different because the flours do react quite differently. So I'm going to zero out the scale. I'm looking for 255 grams of the semola. $256, that's close enough. Now, one of my favorite things about using this flour in this dough recipe is that the pasta has a real nice texture. It cooks really well, and it just has almost like a lighter feel to it. I'm going to pan over to my food processor here now. Please excuse the condition of my food processor. The handle is broken off. It doesn't fasten itself anymore. I've really had to learn how to MacGyver this thing to turn it on. I literally have to use a skewer and put it in there. I have a new one on order. I'm patiently waiting for it to show up, but honestly, this one doesn't owe me anything. I've had it for about 12 years, so I guess it's done me well. Anyway, for the pasta dough, now this can save you some time on a kneading process. You can do this by hand on your countertop. The other method that I shared with you in the recipe, with the well in the center and slowly incorporating, doing that just involves more kneading with your hands. This is a quick way to just kind of speed up the process. I'm going to take my 1 teaspoon of salt, put that in there. And I usually just start with my 1 tablespoon of water. I'm just going to give that a pulse or two. Now this is where it's going to get tricky for me because I kind of need 3 sets of hands here to turn this on. So I'm going to cleverly turn this on, and then we're going to slowly incorporate the egg mass. And you'll see it'll start to come together, get kind of mealy, and then we will eventually start to form a dough ball. Now before I get there, I'm going to put my top on because I do not want it to come jumping out of there on me. Starting to get a little tighter there. I need a little bit more moisture. So every batch might be slightly different here. I'm just going to add a little bit more water into the bottom of that egg bowl. Get that on there. And same thing, back on. Add that in there. Almost there. Now, just for reference here, I've almost had a full 2 tablespoons of water to this batch. Okay, you now see it's tightening up and it's starting to ball together. Give it a little bit of a shake.
come up off the side. It's no longer sticking to the side. That's good. That's exactly what you want there, okay? Now what you can do at this point is pop that out onto a clean, flat, dry surface. Okay? And feel the dough with your hands. It's beautiful. It's got a nice consistency. And now you're going to knead it a little bit. Now sometimes you have to play with it a little bit. If this feels like it might be just a touch on the wet side, that's okay. I can fix it. I'll just simply add in a little bit more flour here during the kneading process. There you go. Now you want to knead your dough until it becomes extremely smooth. This has got a little bit of ways to go here, probably about another 5 to 10 minutes of kneading. Now when you're kneading your dough, a good technique, I call it the heel palm push technique. You want to like fold it towards you, put your heel of your hand down, push, fold, push, fold, push, and fold, kind of like away from you. Folding it in on itself, stretching it while incorporating it. Now, this is a good technique to use because use your body weight, to lean on it. Don't put it too far in front of you where you're like, that's a workout and a half, right? So work smarter, not harder. Get close to you, lean into it, push away, fold, push away, fold, push away. I'll show you what this looks like. This is the proper consistency. Guess I've been working it now for a good 5 to 7 minutes. It's getting nice and smooth now. I haven't added any more flour. Don't keep adding flour. Like, it shouldn't be sticking. The dough is nice and just a good consistency, and it's not sticking to my hands. It's not, as you can see, there's like a little bit of residue here, but it's not super messy. You don't want to keep adding flour. It'll change the consistency of the dough. So just trust the dough until it's nice and smooth. And then you can form it into a ball. Now, you can't work with this right away. I mean, you could, but the whole point of letting this rest for at least half an hour. You can also wrap this up, put it in your fridge, and use it the next day. Just make sure you pull it out and let it come up to room temperature for about an hour before you try to roll it. It's just going to be, if it's cold, it's really hard to deal with. But the main reason why we let it rest is that we just worked the hell out of this, all the gluten in the flour in this, okay? So all that gluten's been activated. It's super, super stretchy and elastic. So this will, if you were to roll it now and make it now, it would yield a very tough pasta. By letting the gluten rest and settle, you'll have a far nicer texture of pasta, and that's why we let this rest. So I'm just going to wrap this up in some saran wrap and set it aside for later. Now I also wanted to show you a comparison of the recipe that I made with just the basic all-purpose flour. I actually used 00, so results may vary with just a basic all-purpose if you're not using 00. Now, definitely right off the hop, I used the exact same method. I just jumped ahead here. Food processor method as I did in the last one. The dough is definitely way softer. That's also because the flour is like really, really finely milled. Okay, and it's definitely a little bit more on the wetter side. So definitely more moisture content. You'll notice if you're using an AP, there really is way less resistance in the dough, and it's a lot easier to knead. Okay, but it'll be kind of cool to see when we go ahead and roll these side by side. I can show you some side-by-side comparison pictures of what they look like, and I can also share with you what I experience in difference of taste and texture. But it's just good information for you to have at home while you're playing with making your own pasta dough.